Okay, so we've touched on communism and the Red Scare and the Palmer Raids. We have touched on the 18th and 19th Amendment. So as you can see, after World War One, the United States is changing pretty quick, pretty fast. Our culture is changing. So let's kind of jump into mass production. And so this talks about examine how mass production and advertising leads to increased consumerism, including Henry Ford and the automobile. So consumerism is the idea that we go out and buy stuff, consume things, we spend our money on stuff. So how does mass production, producing a whole lot really fast, getting it out to a whole lot of people really quick, and then advertising those things lead to Americans, buying tons and tons of things? And in order to examine those, we're going to use Henry Ford and the automobile to kind of discuss how that happens. All right, so 1920s was an increased time of consumerism. So again, vocab word, write it down, which is an increase in the consumption of goods. You go to the grocery store, you buy groceries, you go home, you make your dinner, you eat it. You go to the video game store, you buy video games, you use it. That's consumption. You're using the products. One more. You go to the car dealership, you buy a car. Consumption of goods, okay? Advertising is a way to get the message out to consumers. That's us, people who spend our money on stuff. Getting the word out to people like us so that we'll spend our money on things. And when advertising companies start popping up in the 20s, they find ways to encourage consumers to buy things and make consumers feel like they need things. You need the washer and dryer. You need the vacuum cleaner. You need the dishwasher. You need these things to make your life more convenient. Okay. Yes, a washing machine and a dryer are really, really helpful, especially when my child runs through the mud and plays in the dirt and needs those clothes for tomorrow. But I can still wash them in the sink, or I can wash them outside and I can hang them up to dry. So I don't need a washer and dryer. I don't need a dishwasher. That's what my kids are for. But it does make our life really convenient. But what you're going to find is a lot of these products, dishwashers, dryers, cars, they make our life more convenient, but they're bigger products. They cost more money. And most people at this time don't have that much money to give over to the company at once for that product. So what we're going to see is that during this time period of increased consumerism, installment purchasing is going to make its way to the American market. Meaning you can purchase a car, but instead of handing over to the dealer all the money for the car at once, when you buy it and drive it off the lot, you give them a little bit of money now, you give them a little bit more, and over time you'll pay that product off. Okay? During this time period, Henry Ford comes up with the Model T, the Model T car. Mass production wasn't a new thing. We had been producing things on a massive scale well before the Model T and Henry Ford roll around. But what we'll find is that Henry Ford creates the assembly line, which makes mass production much easier, much more cost effective. And it brings down the cost of an item, because if it costs a manufacturer less to make it, they can pass that savings on to the consumer and lower the price of the product and sell more of that item. Okay? And the automobile is going to lead to huge social changes in America. Just for a minute, think if you didn't have cars. How much earlier you'd have to get up for school to walk to school. The clothes you'd have to wear when it's really cold outside. The good shoes you would have to wear. The more time that you would spend walking to get places, and you probably wouldn't go as many places because it takes so long to get there. But with a car, you can go a lot more places, you can see a lot more people, you can spend more time places. The automobile is going to create urbanization in the United States. So it's not just industrialization and the popping up of manufacturing plants and factories all over the nation that creates the move or the migration of people from the country to the cities, or the rural to the urban areas. But having a car allows people to move into the cities. It allows people to drive more places in a shorter amount of time. And I'll give you an example. My family and I, we live 30 minutes from where I teach. And I mean 30 minutes, and that's on a good day with no traffic, every light's green. You know, if we didn't have a car, it would make it incredibly difficult to get to work every morning and get home within a reasonable amount of time, to make dinner, to feed the kids, to get all the other things done that life requires. Okay? So, not only is the car going to lead to urbanization, but the need for highways is going to pop up because people are going to buy cars. You're going to have more cars on the roads. So you're going to need better roads, more efficient roads. So that infrastructure of highways is going to have to be built. And we'll talk about that when we get to Eisenhower. So hold that thought. But then travel is going to be more independent. People are going to go places to visit, and they're going to spend their money. So just, imagine what the car has done for us and for what we can do in our life. Imagine that you can drive to school, or your parents can drive you to school. They can drive you to work, or you can drive to work. You can do more things with this car. Your life is completely different with a car.